Welcome to the Social Network Show. You're joining us from the studio of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And we are very happy to have you with us. We're going to be speaking with Carol Todd, mother of Amanda Todd. And we are going to be talking about cyber harassment and the tragic consequences that it can have. Carol, welcome to the Social Network Show.
Thank you.
And Carol's been very active since the death of her daughter in trying to influence some of what is happening out there and through the Amanda Todd legacy. Carol, can you just kind of give us a nutshell history of what happened when and how this sad situation came about?
Well, I guess when Amanda was a very young teenager, she was 13, and she always had a passion for using technology. So she would find websites that even us as adults weren't aware that existed. She went on these websites and she found social connections, and she was talking to people, and she thought she was talking to people her own age, but ultimately we find out later that it was actually people that were much older than her. So as teenagers, some teenagers do, she got into some problems using social media, and she was convinced to flash herself, thinking that she was flashing herself to someone her own age. Unbeknownst to her, that person took a photo and kept the photo and kept up a dialogue. And in December of 2010, asked Amanda to show herself again. And I believe that Amanda, she had been suffering from the flu, so she wasn't on her computer at that time, so there was no response. So this person took it upon himself or herself, we don't know who it is exactly, to post the photo online. And so the photo ended up on a child pornography site, or a pornography site that has a lot of pictures of young girls.
Could I ask you, this photo, so it sounded like this was like from a webcam. She was on a webcam.
She was on a webcam.
And so she did not actually take a photo and
No.
send it to someone.
Amanda has never taken a photo of herself to send it. It was taken at the other end and sent out. And so there's a misconception there that some people think that Amanda took photos of herself to send off, and that wasn't the case.
Okay.
And so the photo was sent off, and it was also, the link of the website was posted on Amanda's Facebook page, and it was sent out to her Facebook friends. And through some source, it also ended up on my Facebook messaging.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the evening in December that I got it through my inbox. I opened it, saw it. I printed out and screenshot because I was going to go to the police the next day. It was about midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning that it was sent to me. And then at 2 in the morning, the RCMP arrived at my door to ask if Amanda was safe, because another parent of a friend of Amanda's that had gotten the link had seen it and reported it. Mm-hmm. And so that proactiveness is really beneficial. So in my thinking, if adults see things like this, they should always report it and not solely rely on their children to report it, because I think that law enforcement agencies do listen to adults better than they listen to kids. Mm-hmm. So the RCMP came to my door, which is in Canada, our Royal Canadian Mounted Police, which is our law enforcement in many cities and municipalities. Seeing if Amanda was safe. Amanda was at her father's that night, but it was just a good timing, because then I was able to share with them what I had seen, and I gave them the screenshots, because at that time with the police officer beside me, we tried to open the link, and it was the video, the picture was down. Mm-hmm. So they proceeded to go and check to see, make sure Amanda was safe. And then we had follow-up meetings. They opened a case up, and we had follow-up meetings after that for them to check out IP addresses and contact the site, hopefully. And then for Amanda to talk about what she did and why it was wrong and what she should do in the future. Those were all precautionary steps that were done. Now, I'm not sure if she really stayed off her social media. We did restrict her internet usage, but however, kids can go to friends' houses. They can find other places to attain internet capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first step, and of course, with the picture being posted, and Amanda's 13 years old, it goes to her school friends, and it's Christmas vacation, and she starts getting messages on her Facebook, and that they had seen this picture, and people started name calling and shaming her, and she developed big anxieties about going back to school
after the break. Yeah.
It was, and I do. Kids do things without thinking, and this was the case. And if we could turn back time, if this had been just a one-time situation where someone posted and it was left to rest, then it would have been a better outcome, I think. However, this online person, about every 3 months for a year, kept coming back and threatening Amanda and asking for more, and she'd say no. Every time she said no, he'd repost. Every time she shut down her Facebook, we'd give her a break. And when she restarted her Facebook again, the person would come back. And I think what he did was he made I know there was one situation where she was changing schools, and the person made an alias Facebook page and would say to kids at the new school she was going to that he was going to be a new student there, and would they friend him so that they could talk, so that when he entered the school building in a couple weeks, then he would know some people, and he wouldn't feel so lost and isolated as a new student. And so kids being kids, and this is the other...
Took him at his word and assumed that was going on.
And so he had a whole list of friends, Facebook friends from the school, and that's what he used to repost the picture. So before Amanda entered as she entered her new school, that picture was already out there, which caused her more distress. And so, as I said, in a matter of a year, he reared his ugly head, I would say about 4 times. And we went to the police every time to see what could be done. And every time that happened, the real life peers would start the bullying and the cyber harassment of calling her, you're a slut, you're a porn star, and just it went on and on. So.
And how many schools did she go to?
One.
She went to a
3 or 4.
Oh, wow.
And some of that was because she moved, right? She moved from my house to her father's house. Then her father moved from one city to another because he purchased a house, right? So those were moves that had to be done. In every move you think that there will be a fresh start, but with social media and the way things go, there is really not a fresh start unless you plan to move into an isolated town with 100 people with no internet.
Right. Where is that? Also with us on the show is Jim Nico, my partner in the social network Intermedia. And so, Jim, if you have thoughts, please. I know what your thoughts are right now. How could somebody be so vicious and cruel to persist in something like this.
Yes, that's part of it, and the other part is that my admiration for you, Carol, the bravery, the courage, amidst the pain of losing Amanda, and I believe that what's endeared me to you is your devotion to helping other kids around the world to avoid, if not totally eliminate, you're devoting yourself and your life in Amanda's honor to helping other kids from having to go through this kind of pain. And that's, to me, what I love about you and admire about you. That's what's going on. And I'm heartbroken about Amanda, but I feel like somehow she's guiding us in a way. I mean, and that's what keeps me going.
I think Amanda's story is really diverse in terms of, if you look at the chronicle of her story, you have an online predator, you have bullying in real life, you have cyber harassment from her peers, even people that didn't know Amanda in real life would cyber harass her, because once something's out on the internet through social media, it spreads like wildfire, as we can see from her YouTube video, which the night she died, she had probably, the night before she died, she had 3,000 views. The night she died, she had 8,000 views. The next morning when we woke up, it was up to 100,000 views. And as it stands to date right now, counting all the times that her YouTube video has been reposted, we're probably at 28 million views of her video. And so that's how fast that the networking occurs. So it's great that, social media was used for us to transfer information in a positive way. Unfortunately, it's been used to transfer information negatively. And so we have two instances where her YouTube video to send a message was a positive one, and it's gone to 28 million viewers. The pictures of Amanda posted is a negative way, and it also has reached out internationally too. So there's two instances where two kinds of uses of social media.
We're going to go into that a little bit further coming up next. And thank you, Carol Todd, for joining us with her thoughts of her daughter, Amanda Todd, and the Amanda Todd legacy.